So we're in heat race 5 now of the 4th round. We're getting very close to the meat of the competition. We're actually only about 9 races left to go, because we have 6 qualifiers of the 4th round and then the 3 semi-finals and the final still to come. So let's have a look down at the entry list. We've got quite an all-star cast in this one there. Guillermo van Pamelen in this, Dwayne Stoddart, Russell Endine, Matteo Matisse, Christopher Powell, Jeff Lund, Fabian Siegman, Michael Seaborn, Anwar Barrell-Smith and Eliana de Vos. So some fierce competition. It looks like it's going to be Guillermo van Pamelen who leads the way out to start the qualifying. He's going to be the first one to set a qualifying time. And as we look down there, they're getting ready to head out there. This is going to be a very, very tough heat indeed. Multiple winners in this. It looks like it's going to be Van Pamelen leading the way. Looks like Powell second, and then Dwayne Stoddart is heading out third. So as they head for their warm-up, we're looking at Jeff Lund maybe in the result here. Definitely Van Pamelen, possibly Russell Endine, certainly Fabian Siegman, Anwar Barrell-Smith, we've seen him win twice already. Eliana de Vos could win. It really is quite a set of names here. So Van Pamelen starts his qualifier. Guillermo van Pamelen, he's a very formidable driver. He's European Junior champion, and he really is one of the fastest. He reckoned he was going to win a semi-final race, and he was pretty confident saying that as well, so he wasn't just joking. And he probably is going to have to win this if he's going to guarantee that. There's Dwayne Stoddart leaning out like a good European. That looks like Russell Endine on screen there, and keep filing through. Now, Van Pamelen starting his qualifier. So he's on his qualifying lap now as Guillermo van Pamelen. They're crossing the line. That's Powell. And then it's going to be, I believe, Stoddart. Yes, that's Stoddart next. As they bring out the checkered flag. Waving the checkered flag. I think they're a little bit late with that one. So we've got Guillermo van Pamelen fastest so far. Siegman gone to second. Seaborn third. Michael Seaborn. Eliana de Vos into third. Guillermo van Pamelen still leads the way in the scores. He's leading the way from Siegman, the German. And it is Anwar Barrell-Smith into fourth. He was the final qualifying attempt there. So Guillermo van Pamelen does lead the way. He's going to be making the start from first place, and it's going to be Fabian Siegman, the German, followed by Eliana de Vos, Anwar Barrell-Smith, Matthias Matisse, Russell Endine, Michael Seaborn, Christopher Powell and Dwayne Stoddart bringing up 10th place there. So quite something in this race in the lineup here. Van Pamelen, a lot of fairly new names at the top there. Now, well, gosh, Fabian Siegman, he was the European Indoor Champion of 2019, and of course Guillermo van Pamelen is a former European Junior Indoor Champion, so it's going to be quite a contest there. Eliana de Vos, I remember, was the champion in Poland last year of the juniors, so these really are all some young names and some fierce competitors. But Anwar Barrell-Smith is at the opposite end of that scale. He's been around a long time, and Anwar Barrell-Smith has been a world champion in what was then called Formula Blue. So Anwar Barrell-Smith in 4th place, ahead of Matthias Matisse, another Polish driver. And Matthias Matisse was actually 18th overall in the BRKC last year. He's in 5th place on the grid. Russell Endine has won a number of races, mostly in the past when the BRKC was actually a multi-round, a multi-venue, mostly outdoor format it was running to, and he has actually won more recently the 24 hours, the British 24 hours. Russell Endine has won. That was back in 2016. Russell Endine, he's in 6th place. Michael Seaborn there is in 7th. He's been the Castle Combe Kart champion, so he's a double champion down at Castle Combe, both in 2018 and last year 2019. He's in 7th place in the lineup, and Christopher Powell is there in behind him in 8th place for Powell. Of course, Club 100, he was 3rd place in the championship. Dwayne Stoddart is in 9th, and we've got a listing of Kart 17, which means a non-starter, and that would be the American. The American Jeff Lund appears to be a non-starter, but then there's a kart appearing at the back, so maybe it's a timing issue. Something has happened possibly to Jeff Lund. Maybe he was late getting down there, but they've allowed him to join. But it looks like it could be Jeff Lund who's making a start from the back. He's already talking with Dwayne Stoddart, and we could see full attack from the back from Jeff Lund. So Jeff Lund recording no time, so it would appear that he was too late to head out onto the track. So we have 31.4 for the pole position, 31.4 for second, 31.4 for third. So it's very tight indeed between those top three. Young drivers, everyone looking to make a name on the international scene. Van Pamelen, De Vos we've seen for ages. Siegmann, they're a little bit newer than that. So as they come around, European Junior Champion, Guillermo Van Pamelen. No, it's a bad start, and they're waiting for Jeff Lund. Jeff Lund appears to be taking his time to get away. Now, was that a bit of gamesmanship by the American? Just looking for that extra warm-up lap.
Surely not.
Who knows? But Guillermo Pamelin's going to have to bring him round again. Jeff Lund was not able to put in a qualifying lap. I think he appeared too late. Spanners, did you see what was going on with Lund?
No, I think you might be right that he turned up too late. It's certainly very confusing. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say that he didn't do that on purpose to have an extra lap.
I don't think he did either.
Well, it sounds
he was
like
just
it's
late to the pits and late to the start, wasn't he? They're bringing him to a stop, and then they're going to restart this this rolling start. So there we go. Guillermo Van Pamelen leads him around again. Marshall in the corner there, keen to see that everybody's tight before giving the off. They'd like to see a nice tight start. Guillermo Van Pamelen takes them across the line to begin the race. There's Guillermo Van Pamelen in the lead, Siegmann second, De Vos into third, and he's ahead of Anwar Rural Smith. Now, a bit of bumping and boring around the Snell section. There's a lot of fast people in this race. Guillermo Van Pamelen leads them around the fast corner onto the backstretch, down the backstretch, into the corner there where we had that wet patch earlier on. Guillermo Van Pamelen, no problems there at all. That's long since disappeared, caused by some condensation it was. But Guillermo Van Pamelen leads them across the line, and he's followed by Fabian Siegmann, the German, and another Dutchman, I believe it is. Yes, a Dutchman from Barandrek is Eliana De Vos, and he's in third place in this race. And it looks as if there's a little bit of gap opening up ahead of De Vos, behind Siegmann, as they go down the backstretch, but no, De Vos has got that covered. So there is Van Pamelen leading the way, Siegmann, De Vos, and Anwar Rural Smith. Anwar Rural Smith, very experienced indeed. He knows what to do to get himself out of this fourth place. Experienced in a variety of classes of karting. Couldn't have more varied performance and varied results. And if anyone has driven in almost any track that exists as a kart track, it would be Anwar Rural Smith, vastly experienced over many, many years. And onto the backstretch again, it is Guillermo Van Pamelen. Here he is leading the way down the backstretch into the corner at the end there. We've seen some real desperate lunges around the final section of the track into the start-finish area. There's Guillermo Van Pamelen across the line. He's looking over his shoulder just to check where Siegmann actually is. In the Snail section, very famous part of the track, the Snail section. It's a very tricky area. It tightens really tight, and then it opens up a little bit coming out, and it's very difficult to get exactly right. And we have seen people get a lunge going in, working for them, or losing a place, and also good momentum coming out, so it's been crucial to a run down the backstretch and retain the position there. So Guillermo Van Pamelen looks to be opening up a bit of a gap. It looks like Siegmann caught the wall there, Spanners. Did you see that?
No, I didn't catch that, but we do have an early pit stop here with Stoddard getting out of the way of Lund with his pit stop. I'm not sure if that was his intention or whether he just felt he had to go too defensive with Lund behind him.
Yeah, it's quite interesting though with Jeff Lund, because Jeff Lund, I was expecting him to come through the field. He's actually losing ground. He's not able to pull up on those in front, and he is in last place. Obviously, Dwayne Stoddart is now because he's made the pit stop. But in reality, Jeff Lund is actually at the back, and he's dropping back all the time. So we'll see what's happening there. And then we have to wait a few laps before Kart is fully warmed up, perhaps, for Jeff Lund to really turn on the style. The American driver there from Charlotte, USA.
Well, he's in the net last place with Stoddard in 9th place at the moment. Stoddard driving a specially adapted extra long kart. Really nice of the track to put that on for him.
Yeah, Stoddard, very tall, isn't he? There's a number of tall drivers who do well in indoor karting. Aerodynamics isn't such an important factor here. So sticking up out the top of the car. Oh, you've got someone coming in. I think it's Powell.
Yeah, we've got Powell making a pit stop. He was in a little three-way fight. It didn't look desperate, but he's decided that he's going to come in. That she's going to come in now and get that out of the way. Green, it's a good stop.
Yes, it was, and he's come out ahead of Dwayne Stoddart. So Chris Powell needs to stay ahead of Stoddart. They're going to try and catch up with Jeff Lund. They're quite some way behind Lund. Of course, Lund has yet to stop. There's a close-up of Eliana de Vos. Great view there of the Dutchman, and he's working now on the German in front of him, Fabian Siegmann. Fabian Siegmann, of course, already been saying that Siegmann was the European champion last year, European Indoor Kart champion Fabian Siegmann. He's currently second in this race, and he's being chased down by the Polish junior champion, Eliana de Vos. Eliana de Vos, of course, was Polish junior champion. He's, of course, a Dutchman, just another one of these who travels around Europe, taking the major championships during the year.
What a life, eh? That's better than my life.
You travel around talking about the various championships.
Yeah, it's talking out loud. It's not as good as go-karts, is it?
No, but you always get the last word.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Seaborn decides to come in now with a very good stop. He's nodding his head. He's very happy with his day's work there, and he's off.
Yeah, Seaborn there, Michael Seaborn, he's a double champion from Castle Coombe. He was the champion in 2018, the champion in 2019, and he resumes the race there in 8th place.
Stupid question. Is that karting at Castle Coombe?
Yes, not on the car track. There's a car track to the side of it. It's sort of kind of actually round the back, if you like. If you think of Castle Coombe where the pit area is, those who know the circuit, the kart track, I believe, if you consider the pit lane for the cars was at the back.
Hey James, I'm hearing that there's a pit lane penalty for someone there, and I think, it is Seaborn. So that penalty, that pit stop wasn't as good as it looked. He seemed happy with it though.
Yeah, well, he's the only one not shaking his head, and he's the one who's got the penalty. In fact, he's actually waiting.
Do you know what?
Gosh,
that is good form. That is good form.
Yeah, I think he realises he's out of this race, and he's just here to complete the laps now. So there is Michael Seaborn. He, as I say, he's double champion over there in Castle Coombe. Considering Castle Coombe, when the way they normally draw the track would have the pit lane at the bottom, the kart circuit, I believe, will be about 2 o'clock in such a diagram. So those who know the circuit, the kart track over at the top and at the back there at Castle Coombe. So Guillermo Van Pamelen is in the lead. Fabian Siegmann is second. Eliana de Vos is in third. Anwar Smith is still fourth. Now that's the qualifying order, and they are cancelling each other out on speed, although there are gaps opening up behind the leader, Van Pamelen, and then behind de Vos in third. So the actual fight in that group there is between Siegmann and de Vos, the German versus the Dutchman.
De Vos is looking threatening, James, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I think de Vos he's looking threatening, but he's not really trying anything yet. I haven't seen Siegmann get defensive or have to, really. De Vos probably is just matching Siegmann for speed. He's certainly not feinting anything. He's not actually made any effort to overtake as such, unless he's playing a Ruben Bouton's sort of do nothing and then pounce kind of approach.
They've been listening to the commentary, and they've gone, aha, I will deploy that tactic also.
Yeah, that's it. Because as we saw going down the backstretch, that's normally the teller of what's actually happening on the track from the driver's mentality point of view. Certainly Fabian Siegmann, he was taking the normal line. De Vos is right in his tail, but Fabian Siegmann certainly wasn't getting defensive, doing a Brad Philpott white line job. He certainly wasn't in the middle of the track doing a slightly dissuasive job. He was actually on the normal line as if he knew De Vos wasn't going to try anything.
It sounds evil when you say it like that. I'm going to dissuade you from taking action.
Yeah. Well, that means you're not going to swing across, but you're not really entirely helping the situation either.
No, it's Bond villain stuff, James.
There you go, a bit of dissuasion. Anyway, crossing the line is the dissuading person, who is Fabian Siegmann, and he was dissuading Eliana de Vos, as Anwar Barul Smith behind them would be the beneficiary of any sort of contact. That's going to be important, because if they were fighting each other and taking time with a bit of bumping and boring, it will be to this man's advantage. Oh, and he's making the move. De Vos has taken the jump down the inside. He's gone wide, but he's back again and does manage to hold the position. So Eliana de Vos, he's there in the picture with the black on his helmet as the plain white of Siegmann. And that was the move. It was he did what we said about the Ruben Bouton style of do nothing and then pounds, He pretty much caught Siegmund napping by the looks of it.
Wow, do you know, I'm suspicious of the move because I saw Siegmund raise his hand up in a gesture, which means there was definitely something wrong with it.
Right, was that to his crew? Are they calling
no,
him in?
I don't think so. I think that was at the manoeuvre. But
Right, that's about the manoeuvre. Well, we'll soon find out. Eliana de Vos is continuing on his way. It didn't look that dodgy. Yeah, it was a bit rough in the way that anything at the bottom of the hairpin there normally is.
I think if you lose the place, don't you, you throw your hands up and just try and trigger an investigation.
Exactly. It's a bit like what I was saying, because I'm old enough and been racing long enough, long before electronic timing, that if you were side by side across the finish line with someone, if you cheer more, the officials tend to believe you're the winner. So you're going to get the result. I think it was probably a little bit of that going on with Siegmund.
And you've got to shake your head and
make it just look worse as it could be.
This guy,
mind you, there's some waving on. I notice some waving from a lady, clearly I think involved with Eliana de Vos somewhere in the pit lane. Yeah, if we can find out, Spanners, who the lady waving, she's in the back of the pits there. If you can go and find out, that would be great.
Is it this lady here in
yes,
this car?
Yes, it is.
Is there secret signals going on?
To De Vos or who?
Are you giving signals to De Vos?
Yes.
What are you telling him to do?
I'm nervous.
Who is she,
Does he need to
Spanners?
pit soon? Okay, I think it's just encouragement as into the pits comes Siegmund after losing out the place to De Vos. Probably best to just, clear your head, get yourself in the pits, get yourself a bit of clean air, and he's going to pop out, I think, ahead of Seaborn.
So
that was very mean of you to make me accost that lady over there.
Did you actually ascertain who she was?
I think she was nervous for De Vos, a supporter, perhaps a family member.
Excellent. Okay. So
I'm going to say sister. That's what I'm going to go for.
Sister, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, Spanners. Well, so you've obviously spoken with Eliano's sister, and she's encouraging him on. He, of course, has moved up to second place. The pass was fairly robust, yes, but clearly fair. And in fact, Eliana Vos is trying to maintain his lead from Anwar Burrell-Smith, who we're looking at now. Is second place for De Vos, third place for Anwar Burrell-Smith. There's Dwayne Stoddart, and he's been passed by the leader by the looks of it, Guillermo van Pamelen.
Yep.
And really, so we saw Siegmund in the pits. Now Siegmund's come out in seventh place. Really, there's no reason for De Vos to come in now, or Burrell-Smith. I don't see any reason for any of them yet, but they all obviously know what they're doing, and they've got their own plans.
There was no real reason for Siegmund to come in either. I think that's mental. Just get out of there, clear your head.
Well, Siegmund is the next person ahead of him is Jeff Lund, and we've seen Jeff Lund pretty much struggle in this race ever since he appeared to miss the qualifying. So maybe he's on some kind of massive back foot here. Jeff Lund, we'd seen great results from. We saw he was very fast. Remember yesterday we were talking, and he was the fastest in the heat race he was in. He would set the best lap for the heat race he was in. So there's no question about his speed. He was, he was noticed in the World Championship last year when it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. That, of course, is where Jeff himself is from. Here he is struggling, unfortunately, in this final heat race. Anyhow, meantime, it is still Guillermo van Pamelen, 23 laps in from Eliana de Vos and Anwar Burrell-Smith. Matheus Matisse is fourth, with Russell Ending up to fifth ahead of Jeff Lund. Fabian Siegmund has been made pissed off. There's me in the commentary box up in the control room there. Now, as you can see, Spanners, it's nice and warm. Although I've got a jacket on, I'm not feeling any cold at all. As I, from my comfortable surroundings, watch Guillermo van Pamelen take another lap in the lead across the finish line.
I'm just going to have a quick chat with Stoddard's team here, I think.
Yeah, go for it.
How's your boy doing?
He's doing pretty good, actually. He's out there to enjoy it, as you would expect. It's obviously a tough competition. It's very tough, actually, with some of the best in the world there. But you know what? The only way to get faster is to race the best, and he is getting faster.
Absolutely. It's worth noting that these guys improve year on year, James.
Excellent. That's probably very true. You know what? Talking to Dwayne's crew, he's just waved Eliana de Vos through on the backstretch. There they are, supporting their Dwayne Stoddart in this race. But out on the track, Eliana de Vos has now got Dwayne Stoddart between him and Anwar Burrell-Smith. So Anwar Burrell-Smith's going to be looking to make the pass on Dwayne Stoddart. It's his to put him a lap down. There's Stoddart. There's Anwar Burrell-Smith as he moves to the inside. He's taking him down the inside. Is he? Yes, he is. Anwar Brule-Smith moves ahead now, Dwayne Stoddard, putting him a lap down. Now back into contact with Eliana de Vos, who is in the battle in position. I think Anwar's dropped a bit of time though, Spanners. He'll probably be a bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, because he was threatening to get right on the back of that, and he could have really benefited from the Divorce-Sigmund
Pitts,
battle
it's the American
there.
Lund.
Yeah, Lund's in. He's coming from the back. It's actually, yeah, not the slickest pit stop. He's going to come out on his own and slot in just behind Seaborn.
Yeah, what's interesting is he's a bit closer to Seaborn than he was before, because it appeared that he was dropping away from Seaborn. But now has made up a little bit of time. A fairly slick pit stop, it's got to be said, by Jeff Lund there.
It was all right. It was all right. I think he was a little bit hesitant. You know, when you come into a race with less than ideal prep, you've lost out on your little mental space of getting in the zone. I think that's got a bigger effect than you know, other people might think.
Yeah. What's interesting is he's sort of a bit of a Lewis Manley from America, if you like, because Victory Lane Karting is where the World Championship was held last year, and Victory Lane Karting is what Jeff Lund is the track champion of. So that's where he comes from. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a multiple winner, a bit like Lewis Manley is here of Formula Fast. So, bit of a sliding moment there. There's Guillermo Van Pamelen coming up towards it. It did look like Michael Seaborn, actually. Was that Seaborn? In the 12, yes it was Michael Seaborn. Now, we've got Jeff Lund in 7th place. We're talking about him. He's a multiple track champion of Victory Lane Karting, as he continues, but in the pits it looks like ending.
Yeah, Ending's into the pits very aggressively, actually. He's going for it. And, do you know, again, a slight tilt to the head, disappointed, it wasn't perfect, looked pretty good to me.
At least it wasn't a penalty. On the screen now, we've got Jeff Lund that we're talking about. As I said, Victory Lane Karting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jeff Lund is their representative. Bit of a struggle in this race, which began with missing qualifying, which is always going to hurt. But Jeff Lund, he's a multiple track champion over there in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I, of course, know that area of the USA, having raced there, but in cars on the ovals. But I've not been to Victory Lane Karting. I wish I had now.
Well, Lund is a bit more aggressive through the final hairpin than the others, so it's interesting to see the different styles. Number 9, Mattis, has come in and got his stop out of the way.
Yeah, Mattis, he was 18th in the championship last year, and we continue to watch Jeff Lund. As I say, he's the American driver. It's good and fairly new to see a US entrant. Oh, in the pits, the leader.
We've got Van Pamelen in the pits. This needs to just be smooth and silky, and he's going to get out ahead of Stoddard as well. So he's clear. That's worked out well.
Yeah, that was important for Guillermo Van Pamelen. He did have a healthy lead, but not of the sort of lead he could afford a messed up pit, and heaven help him if he'd actually got a penalty in it. Jeff Lund there, back on screen. He's, as I say, he's from Charlotte, North Carolina, Victory Lane Karting. I'm sure they'll be watching this. They might even have it on screen in the karting centre themselves, although, depending on the time, it could be a bit early in the morning for that sort of thing.
It's always good to have an American round. It makes it seem like the telly, doesn't it? Oh, it's speaking all American. Number 18, DeVos, he's in the pits.
Eliana de Vos, he drops down below Guillermo Van Pamelen as a result of that pit stop. He does not lose a place, but it's all going to be down to Anwar Brule-Smith now. Can Anwar Brule-Smith close that gap to de Vos and actually challenge? Because when Brule-Smith comes out of the pits, de Vos will have momentum as he goes in to pass him, but if he can stay on the inside all the way around the snail, Brule-Smith may have track position on de Vos. So we'll see what happens. It's all about Brule-Smith's pit stop now in that second place battle. Brule-Smith is in the lead at the moment, yet to make a pit stop. So there is Anwar Brule-Smith. He's the current race leader, yet to make a pit stop. In fact, he's the only one on the track who hasn't made one. Michael Seaborn, of course, had to make 2, and that is hurt him. Now, Jeff Lund has come right up into 7th place, we talked about him earlier, but now we're looking at Anwar Brule-Smith, who is yet to make a stop. Will it be on this lap? Only a minute or so to go. No, he's leaving it really late, isn't he, Anwar Brule-Smith? This is the last of the late stoppers.
And he's going for it. He's pushing.
He is. He's only 2.8 seconds ahead of Guillermo Van Pamelen, so he won't come out in the lead. In fact, he may comfortably drop behind Eliana de Vos, because Eliana de Vos has 8.5 seconds behind Amar Brule-Smith, and to be honest, that was the only thing Amar Brule-Smith can do. The reason he's leaving it this late is he has to spend more time out on his own trying to increase. He's coming in this time, his arms up. He needed to make a bigger gap to De Vos, which is why he stayed out so late.
Well, he gave it a good go. He had to take a double stab at the brakes though, so not quite ideal, especially when the margins are this fine. And it looks like that group with De Vos is going to get comfortably ahead.
In fact, he's going to lose to Siegmann as well, so Amar Brule-Smith drops right the way down. We didn't really factor Siegmann into our thinking there. I was just thinking he was going to come out behind De Vos, but he's lost to Siegmann too, because De Vos is circulating there with Siegmann right on his tail. We've got them on screen now. There's Alejandro De Vos in the black on his helmet. So there's Stoddart a lap down, but here's De Vos, here is Siegmann, and there is Amar Brule-Smith. Round the turn, round the camera corner here, the crane camera. There's De Vos, there's Siegmann, and there's Brule-Smith. And behind Smith is Matthias Matisse.
Well,
so there's Brule-Smith.
He was behind those two in relative terms anyway, but the gap has increased. It looked like he was putting pressure on them, but it's not happened.
Yeah, he really actually does seem to be quite a fair bit further back than I'd reckoned on. I know he wasn't as close to De Vos in the, with the time allowance for 10-second pit stop than he would have liked. But I didn't realise it'd be quite this gap. Now, although he's closing in, but maybe that's the concertina effect down the backstretch. There's De Vos, there is Siegmann, here is Brule-Smith. So as they continue on for another lap, the last lap in fact, and the checker flag is being prepared. It's going to be for Guillermo van Pamelen. Guillermo van Pamelen, 37 laps in, going to be receiving the checker flag this time round. He's on the backstretch. There's De Vos. This is the fight though. De Vos and Siegmann in the battle for second. Guillermo van Pamelen's coming around the final turn. He's going to take the checker flag. It's Van Pamelen for the win. And there it is on the screen. But what about De Vos and Siegmann? His late move? No. They're caught behind Stoddart's crossing the line there. And there's De Vos. There is Siegmann. And there's Brule-Smith. So, gosh, that was close, wasn't it? Caught Stoddart right at the end. Almost a change for position in terms of Siegmann's point of view, but as it was Van Pamelen who won from De Vos, Siegmann, Brule-Smith. Matthias Matisse was 5th, Russ Lending 6th, and Jeff Lund had come through from last to 7th, so some great moves there from the North Carolina driver in the USA. Obviously, I'm thinking that'll be it for the event for Jeff Lund spanners, but as you say, he's always a great interview. Sounds great with the accent, doesn't he?
Yeah, makes it sound like it's off telly.
So yes. Well, it is on telly. It's from Motorsports TV now, Spanners.
Yeah, all right, glamorous. It makes it sound like glamorous Hollywood telly. Let's see if we can get a word with De Vos. I think would be a good person to speak to. Hang on, I'll just tap him on the shoulder. Yeah. Hey, come and have a quick chat with me. He was getting a lot of support from the sidelines, and I think it was more nerves from his team that he was going to hang on to second place rather than any tactical element. It looked like a straight fight, really, of get your pit stop done and then hold it. Another one of these drivers with a massive racing seat. He looks like he's got 2 inserts there to bring him up to weight. It's 80 kilograms, is it, this year? Is it 90? James? Is it 90?
Sorry, sorry, Spanners, missed that bit there. I was just expecting a screen. Yes, so repeat that.
Is it 90 kilograms the weight limit?
Yes, it is 90 kilos.
So some of these drivers really do need like massive seat inserts, but I think De Vos has 2, which is why it stood out in particular. And then, of course, we try and get a word with Van Pamelen, a very young podium here for this race. Makes you feel old, doesn't it, James? Yeah,
I mean, when I was going through their stats going into this race, it was, when I was talking about the championships, I was using the word junior a lot, particularly with Van Pamelen and De Vos and Siegmann, so yes, very young indeed.
Of course, as a millennial, the effect is not as great for me, James, but my sympathies.
No, I'm glad I lived when I did. It's going to be some very interesting interviews in this one, though, yeah?
Oh, well, I hope so, because there was a lot of emotion there, and from the sidelines, obviously De Vos's team was getting increasingly nervous, hoping they'd put that performance in. Hey, a great result there, second place. There was a bit of doubt that you were going to hang on to it. How did you feel?
I feel very good about this result. I need it for the semi-finals because I was too low on the points, so I need this result.
Big points. So how are you feeling going into the semi-finals? I guess you've got to go from it from where you are.
Yes, I feel very happy with my points, and now it's possible to get a high result.
You're going to fight, so we're going to see some aggressive, punchy driving from you.
Not aggressive, but I will fight for my place.
Thank you very much. Well done. A hard-fought second place. Well, here we go. Get to speak to you all the time, don't I, Van Pamelin? Another win there. You made it look easy. Not really in any doubt at all.
No. Oh, I'm so happy, man. Holy shit. I'm happy.
I apologise deeply for anyone offended by that. No, the excitement is there. I mean, it means a lot to you to pick up even these heat wins. You're in great shape for the semi-finals now.
Yes, I think so. But the last heat was very good, but this one, it felt great.
What made this one better?
I don't know, man. Pole and fast lap and just the race win. Feels great.
Fantastic. You're going to be a real threat in the semi-finals and the finals. Go get him, son. Absolutely fantastic to see him and his family, a great support system around him there, being congratulated by his friends. A popular victory. And De Vos as well, quietly confident, I think, of doing well in the semi-finals. I can't wait.